divided by...
This is John. He hasn't worked this hard to only get this far with his cholesterol. Taken with a statin, Leqvio can lower bad cholesterol and keep it low with 2 doses a year. Side effects were injection site reaction, joint pain, urinary tract infection, diarrhea, chest cold, pain in legs or arms, and shortness of breath. With Leqvio, lowering cholesterol becomes just one more thing life throws your way. Ask your doctor about Leqvio. Lower, longer, Leqvio.
Tomorrow on ET, our exclusive on set of Hocus Pocus 2.
Then only we're in Disneyland with the cast of Home Economics.
How much am I going to have to pay you to go on a ride with me? I will do it for 1 churro.
Happening now.
Terrified parents swarming Thomas Jefferson High School after it goes into lockdown. We talk with parents and students about what led to the chaos on campus. Next.
After nearly 50 migrants were flown out of state, back here at home, migrants say that they're scared. They're being more vigilant. But exactly how they're taking care of themselves, coming up.
Our summer-like weather pattern continues. We'll talk about just how hot it'll be the rest of the week and a new area of concern in the tropics, some development that could be headed toward the Gulf of Mexico. We'll talk about it in just a bit. The news at 5 starts right now.
Caught up in the chaos, panicked parents rushing to a San Antonio high school.
This scene underscoring the fear and distrust among so many after the elementary school shooting in Uvalde. That chaos and confusion unfolding after Jefferson High School was placed on lockdown this afternoon.
Police were soon faced with a mob of terrified parents wanting to make sure their kids were safe. And some parents apparently didn't believe officers when they were told they were. Again, apparent fallout from what happened in Uvalde. Officers made it clear there was no shooting on campus, but there were clashes.
And our Courtney Friedman is live at Jefferson High School this afternoon. Courtney, you were there right in the middle of this chaos. Tell us how this played out.
Yeah, Stephen, Myra, I was actually called out really soon after parents got that call that their children were on lockdown here at Jefferson High School. We got here as parents were arriving. Right behind me, it actually started out pretty calm, though, and I want to make sure we talk about that part, too. Behind me, they had a line of parents. People were calmly lining up just to make sure that it was easy to receive their children once the lockdown was being lifted. When we got here, they did say that the lockdown would soon be lifted. Now, before we get to the chaos that ensued, I do want to make sure to say the most important part of this. There was no shooting here today on Jefferson High School's campus. They did not find a weapon either. But a student did make an anonymous call to SAPD around 1 this afternoon saying there had been a fight on campus and there may have been a weapon involved. That's when the lockdown went into effect. Parents gathered here at the school. Some eventually did rush the building, screaming to let their kids out. We were feet away from the window. Then one man punched and began bleeding. A lot of people took rumors to be true that because a man was bleeding, there were gunshots. That's not the case. The man was bleeding because he punched a window. Officers took him away to treat that injury, but they did not file any charges given the emotion of the situation. The majority of parents stood and listened to the orders, even though they too were scared and emotional.
It's just a lot of emotions. It's very scary just after the whole Uvalde incident. The kids, they want to come home, they want to come out, but with parents acting like this, it's not going to help.
Yeah, during the lockdown, officers swept every classroom and hallway in this large campus and found no weapon on the campus. That's when they cleared the rooms and lifted that lockdown. We caught up with some of the students as they left the campus. They said they practiced for this and knew exactly what to do.
We started barricading the door with desks, chairs, and we went to like the furthest away from the door, and that's about it. I stayed pretty calm. I know a lot of kids were worried.
Yeah, a lot of fear today all around students, teachers, parents, just given, again, what has happened in Uvalde recently. But thankfully, everyone here today on campus was okay. After everything calmed down, I was able to interview the SAISD superintendent about what went right and what went wrong. So make sure you check back in with us at 6 o'clock tonight. I'll be live here from the campus talking about what changes will be happening given what happened today. We're live at Jefferson High School. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
Yeah, it's just a new reality. A lot lot of us are living with. I understand the parents' fear. Yeah, thank you, Courtney. KSAT 12 typically does not report on school threats unless it's deemed credible or an arrest is made. But the law enforcement response and the rush from parents made what happened today different.
So many things are different now. Again, there was no shooting at Jefferson High School today. This is a story we are also following online at KSAT.com. We'll continue our coverage tonight on the news at 6.
To our other big story this afternoon, Florida's governor now responding to an investigation opened up right here in Bexar County. We're talking about the flight from San Antonio to Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was meeting with his supporters when he responded to allegations that migrants were lured onto that flight.
Hey, Governor, Miles Cohen from ABC News. How would you respond to the sheriff in Texas who's saying that these migrants were lured under false pretenses to boarding those planes?
Thank you. While Florida's governor denied the claims, he did not say whether more flights were expected.
Our Alicia Barrera went back to the Migrant Resource Center on San Pedro Avenue to see how this case has impacted other asylum seekers that are traveling through San Antonio.
No es fácil. Standing next to her 3 children, Elena Cartaya says getting to the U.S. from Venezuela was not easy, and she's still worried about what comes next.
Si no tenemos para pagar nuestro vuelo.
Families of migrants commonly fund their own transportation. However, Cartaya says the Migrant Center requires migrants to leave after 3 days and keeps track of who enters the center through these color-coded wristbands. So she, along with dozens of other migrants, spend most of their time on the streets, where sometimes they're offered food and donations, but are also at risk of misinformation that the American Civil Liberties Union says likely led to nearly 50 migrants allegedly lured onto a flight from San Antonio to Florida and Massachusetts.
It's extremely troubling. It seems that people are not providing informed consent as to transportation because they are being brought onto flights under false pretenses based on the available information.
In Cartaya's case, she tells me she has heard about these flights offered by a woman. However, she got word today that a church donated funds through the Migrant Center for transportation, so she'll be headed to Houston tomorrow. Meanwhile, authorities and immigration lawyers continue to press for answers, including what, if any, legal authority the state of Florida has to transport migrants.
The ACLU of Massachusetts has, reached out to connect with individuals who were transported.
And one of the biggest changes that we have noticed this afternoon is more San Antonio police officers around the area. And we did ask SAPD if this was directly connected to this alleged incident of migrants being lured onto those planes. And they said that's not the case. However, they are increasing patrol in request from the city in order to keep these migrants safe, as well as people who actually live in this neighborhood. And migrants that I spoke to today, including Mrs. Elena, she says that they are aware of this possible investigation, which has made them uneasy, so they're being careful on what donations they do accept from strangers. Coming up at 6, we'll also hear from the district attorney and how he's weighing in on possible criminal charges if a suspect is identified. Reporting live, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Alicia. Crime Stoppers releasing new pictures in an armed robbery. Investigators are hoping that you will recognize the people in these photos. Police say 2 of the suspects showed weapons to employees at a QT gas station before leaving with money. This happened back in July at the QT near Medina Base Road and Loop 410 on the southwest side. If you know who those people are, call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP. You could be eligible for a reward of up to $5,000.
What happened to her? Nearly a year later, still no word on where little Lena Keel is this afternoon. Today marks 9 months since she was last seen at a playground at her family's apartment. That complex is near the medical center, just about a mile from I-10. Lena's family moved here to escape the threats in Afghanistan. Her father told us his child's life ended up being in danger here in their new home. Early on in the case, police searched cars at that apartment complex on Fredericksburg Road. A dive team was sent out to search nearby bodies of water, and volunteers canvassed the area. The family says they've been harassed, and people have spread conspiracies about this case. As they deal with those struggles, the family says they're also raising a new baby, born a few months ago. They're also not giving up on looking for Lena. A $250,000 reward still being offered. And now the case will gain some national attention on a show called In Pursuit with John Walsh. That show airs tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Investigation Discovery. It will also air on Discovery Plus.
Now to a recall alert involving Family Dollar and Colgate toothpaste. The Food and Drug Administration says Family Dollar's stock of Colgate toothpaste was stored outside of the temperature requirements on the label. The supply involves several Colgate Optic White brands of toothpaste. The stock was taken to stores in Texas from May 1st to June 21st. You can take a closer look at this information on our website at KSAT.com.
The clock is ticking towards the November election, but the deadline to register just 3 weeks away on October 11th. It's why so many universities and organizations recognizing National Voter Registration Day today. People are getting all the information they need so they don't miss out on the vote. Generally, if you're already registered in Texas, you don't need to register again. But you do need to update your registration if you've moved or changed your name.
More summer-like temperatures and drought conditions bring up concerns about wasting water. Less lawn watering can help conserve, but there are other ways you can cut your water use by as much as half. 12 on your side's Marilyn Moritz says look at your old appliances and some of your wasteful habits.
This is where some 30% of average household water use goes, outdoors. You can save water by letting your lawn grow longer. That reduces evaporation, so you water less often. Replacing some grass with mulch or ground cover that uses far less water makes a big difference too.
Instead of rinsing your driveway or deck, sweep it or use an electric leaf blower. And wash your car with a bucket of water instead of a running hose.
Inside the house, the room that uses the most water, the bathroom, mainly toilets and showers. Nearly 20% of indoor home water use flows from the shower. A standard shower head releases 2.5 gallons of water a minute. Replacing it with a low-flow WaterSense head can save 2,700 gallons a year. You can save even more by limiting showers to less than 5 minutes and turning off the water when you brush your teeth. In the kitchen, soak pots and pans instead of scrubbing under running water. And no need to over-rinse the dirty dishes that you're just going to put in the dishwasher and in the laundry room.
If you have an HE washer, use a detergent for an HE machine. Regular detergents will create a lot of suds and will force an HE washer to use more water to get that soap out.
And don't ignore drips and leaks. They account for more than 10,000 gallons of household wasted water a year. That's also money down the drain. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Check out the traffic situation here on this afternoon. 5:10, 95 degrees outside. It's hot. This is I-10 in Frio, and you can see traffic is moving all right out of downtown. It's when you get towards downtown where traffic is backing up on this Tuesday. Still ahead on the news at 5, Hurricane Fiona is still on the move and power problems continue in Puerto Rico. What we've heard from CPS Energy and what the island's power supplier is claiming. Coming up.
And the COVID-19 issue in San Antonio is changing, but researchers say there's still a reason to protect yourself. What some COVID patients faced just a year after their diagnosis. Coming up.
The COVID situation in San Antonio is improving. Metro Health says our risk level dropped down to medium, but new research showing how important it is to protect yourself from COVID-19 still. Researchers say it's being linked to more Alzheimer's disease in patients 65 and older. The health records of more than 6 million seniors, the focus of this research. Those patients had COVID-19 at the start of the pandemic before antivirals were available. The co-author for the study says that group of people were more likely to get a diagnosis of Alzheimer's within roughly a year of getting COVID. That's compared to those without the infection.
We were a little bit surprised at how much of an increased hazard there was for developing Alzheimer's disease in such a short period of time.
Researchers say COVID has not been found to cause Alzheimer's, but there is a link. Inflammation from the disease may be a risk factor for how it interacts with our brain.
We are still keeping an eye on Hurricane Fiona. It's already left an immense amount of damage in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans still without drinking water and electricity. We checked in with CPS Energy here at home. They say they have not received any requests to help with power problems yet. Meanwhile, officials in the U.S. territory are promising to get the power back on soon. 2 people have died as a result of the storm. Some drone video shows the floodwaters in one region of the island.
In the metropolitan area, it's mostly urban flooding, but the southern part of the island is the one, and the western and eastern southern parts, they received a lot of rain.
As of today, Luma Energy, the island's utility supplier, estimated that roughly 7 out of 10 customers are still in the dark. And our coverage of Hurricane Fiona continues tonight at 6 o'clock. RG Marquez speaking with several local business owners who have family in Puerto Rico, what they're saying about the impact of this storm today at 6.
Take a live look outside. Sky 12 over the votive candle outside the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center.
The view from this camera.
Yeah.
There we go.
The Virgen de Guadalupe.
It is always so beautiful.
Oh, yeah. During the day and at night when you drive by.
Right, when you drive right up on it. That's what I love.
Absolutely. 95 degrees out there, though.
I don't love that.
No,
not
so
this
much.
time of year, right? We're ready for that to come to an end, to a screeching halt, but it's not going to anytime soon. The heat high that we're so familiar with in the summertime, it's back overhead, and that's giving us some record challenging high temperatures here later this week. And then an update on the tropics, not so much Fiona, as that's just basically moving out to the open sea, but an area of new development that should be headed toward the Gulf of Mexico. So let's start with temperatures, and you look at the rest of this week. 97 tomorrow, 99 on Thursday, 99 on Friday, right near triple digits. And that would actually put us in record challenging territory. Friday, for example, the record high is 99, and that's our forecast. Then the heat high breaks down a little bit into the weekend to mid-90s, and early next week a little closer to 90. Still above average, which is 89 degrees. By the way, we had a high of 95 today. Right now we're at 94 here in San Antonio at the airport. 96 in Hondo and Gonzales, Uvalde 92, Cotulla 99 degrees, just a little shy of triple digits, but you can see where the heat high is right now. Just look at the temperatures. Omaha 100, Wichita 99, was 100 last hour, and I was just looking at observations throughout Kansas and western Missouri and several triple digit readings. So this is where the upper level high, the big blue H, the heat high, is residing. It's just centered to the northeast of us, but it's going to be settling overhead, and it's just not going to move. So it's going to, of course, keep our temperatures up, as we just talked about, but also it's going to deflect the rainfall activity around us. So it's good for the Four Corners states. It's going to continue to pump moisture into there. It's their monsoon season. They'll see more moisture. By the weekend, I mentioned the high breaks down, and it opens the door for a very weak cool front to move in early Monday morning. This isn't, I don't think, going to have a big impact on our temperatures, but I do think this could help shield us from the next potential tropical system that's likely to move into the Gulf of Mexico as we get into next week. So let's talk about this right here. First of all, yes, we have Fiona out there, Cat 3 going due north between Bermuda and the east coast of the U.S. Tropical Storm Gaston, North Atlantic, that's out over the open ocean. We're watching this area of development that's likely to turn into our next tropical cyclone, at least an 80% chance over the next several days, moving toward the Caribbean. Right now it's just north of South America, but it'll head toward the Caribbean this weekend, then likely into the Gulf of Mexico next week. And right now there are indications that it would strengthen rapidly as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico. Something to watch. But again, it looks like that cold front would help steer it away from us. So we'll keep you updated. 94 right now, dew point of 66. We're still feeling the mugginess. Dew point 60s near 70. So we have that stickiness in the air. That's not going to be the case by tomorrow afternoon. We'll start tomorrow muggy at 73 with a 73 degree dew point. But by the afternoon, much drier air mixing downward. And you're not even going to think of the humidity by tomorrow afternoon. As for temperature, 74 in the morning, 90 at noon, 97 the high. We talked about that. Bernie 94, Hondo 97, Canyon Lake up to 97, New Braunfels, Seguin 98. And there you have it, that record challenging warmth on the way as we go through the rest of this week.
See if we hit 100.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam.
Maybe a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember the movie Wreck-'em Ralph? The video guy just went and wrecked everything, right? I think there should be a new video game that comes out on Sunday. It's called Pound 'em Parsons.
I'll tell you what, he is a one-man wrecking crew right now. But what Mike McCarthy revealed today, we didn't know about the game he just played and just starred in on defense. Coming up, more about that. And who's responsible for the missed opportunities on offense for the Houston Texans coming up.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
Micah Parsons has become a one-man wrecking crew when it comes to the Dallas defense, and during training camp, he told us he didn't want to play at one position. He wanted to be versatile in his approach that included both defensive end and linebacker. But in the 20-17 win over the Cincinnati Bengals, in which Parsons was responsible for 2 of the Cowboys' 6 sacks on Joe Burrow, that now gives him 17 for his career, head coach Mike McCarthy reveals something we didn't know when asked what kind of an impact Parsons had in that game.
Micah wreaks havoc. He's definitely a focal point for every one of our opponents. I mean, you could see that last year. We played him, exclusively, at the defensive end position yesterday. So, I mean, obviously had a huge game. And Captain Obvious question, Captain Obvious answer. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
See if the Cowboys change up their defensive plan when they travel to New York to face the Giants on Monday Night Football. Live on KSAT 12 at 7:15. The Houston Texans did not select a quarterback in their monumental draft this offseason, putting all their eggs in the Davis Mills basket. But the second-year quarterback only completed 19 of 38 pass attempts and not a single touchdown, with a quarterback rating of 63.2 in that 16-9 loss to the Broncos in Denver. Mills only able to get the Texans into the red zone once, and the team as a whole is only averaging 14.5 points in their first 2 games, which ties for 28th in the league. So when it comes to missed opportunities, is it all on Mills or his wide receivers?
Whenever you see something like that going on, I think most times it's a combination of both. Receiver can run a better route, maybe protection could be a little bit better, and then our throw could be a little bit better. It's normally, without going over each specific one that fell a little short or didn't happen the way we like, most of the time it's that combination of all. All right, the Texans next travel to Chicago to take on the Bears Sunday at high noon. NBA veteran Draymond Green is calling on all NBA team owners to vote on whether or not Robert Sarver should remain as the owner of the Phoenix Suns and Mercury or be kicked out of both leagues. This comes after NBA Commissioner Adam Silver suspended Sarver for 1 year and fining $10 million for his behavior that included using a racial slur when recounting other conversations and remarks about women employees. During his podcast, Draymond asked the question why Donald Sterling could be forced out as a Clippers owner after he used racial slurs in recorded phone conversations, and Sarver is not forced to sell after what we read. Coming up at 6 o'clock, what UTSA is now facing after their very difficult 3-game schedule going into their game against Texas Southern.
Could be a game they look past. It could be a trap game.
Can't look past this game for a number of reasons. We'll tell you why coming up.
All right. Thank you, Greg.
We'll be right back.
All right, here's your updated 7-day forecast. A lot of sunshine the rest of this week. High temperatures. Talking upper 90s right near 100, especially Thursday and Friday. That's record challenging warmth. Into the weekend, mid 90s. And by the way, it's going to be hot, but you're not going to be noticing the humidity during the heat of the day the rest of this week. That's a consolation.
We'll take it at this point. Thanks for watching the News at 5.
See you back here at 6. World News is next.